Welcome to the Outer Realm with Michelle DeRoche and Amelia Pisano. Airing live on the United Public Radio Network, 105.3 FM in New Orleans.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our Thursday night segment here on the Outer Realm. We are broadcasting live on the International Public Radio right here on United Public Radio Network 105.3 FM from the beautiful city of New Orleans. We are fully sponsored by the amazing folks over at Folgers Coffee. Thank you, Folgers. And, of course, Dr. Snick, the sonic surgeon, aka Justin Snicker, who is an award-winning composer of Halloween horror, sci-fi, and dark wave electronic music, which is available on all platforms which stream amazing music. So thank you for your contribution to our intro and outro. Tonight, we welcome for the very first time Les Velez, who is going to be discussing his organization OPUS and alien abductions and hybrids and so much more. It's going to be just fantastic. So, of course, as usual, we are on 8 different platforms. Tonight, you can find us on, of course, the Outer Realm Facebook. You can find us on Canada's Most Haunted, aka myself. We've got Joe Montaldo, UFO Undercover. We've got UFO Paranormal Radio, of course. And news on the flip side, we've got 2 of our YouTube, which is UFO Paranormal Radio and, of course, International Public Radio. And we are on Twitch on UFO Paranormal Radio. So I see we are all chiming in at the moment. We've got Doreen, we've got Tamara, and Steve. Hi, everybody. How are you all? So now we've got sound.
Oh my gosh, I had to get Mini-Me to come up here and do it because I had my phone next to me. It was connecting to my phone. I can hear you, but my voice was going out on my phone. So I took it's all
because the earbuds,
the
is that what it is?
microphone's gone. It lights up, but it doesn't work. So it's gone. And I haven't had it that long, so I'm not impressed. I'm just saying.
Wow. We can actually hear you really well. So that's actually pretty good. Yeah, that works out really good.
That's good. I'm glad. It's the earbuds. So it's everything's not like nothing's working today. I think it's my energy.
Ooh.
I think I'm doing something to create that. Now the mouse works. Yeah, of course.
Right. Of course, Tamara says her earbuds died.
They died? Well, my microphone died, Tamara. We'll bury them together. I'll meet you in Burlington. Yeah, we'll just toss them in a cemetery. I've had enough of this. It's like one day I go to plug in my microphone, and when I unplug it, the head, like the piece of the microphone, stayed in there of the cord. The input, the shell stayed in there, and the needles, the points, the connectors came out. And I'm like, really? So I'm wondering if there's still a piece that's in there.
Oh, that could be. And you're just pushing it in. You can't
buy a cord by itself. Because I tried that.
That's always
so
dandy,
I'm going to have to bury it and maybe just use it as like an Oscar and put it on my book.
Nice.
What am I going to do with this?
Gosh.
You know, it looks pretty.
Right.
But yeah. So anyways, how are you?
I'm good. I've been immersed in, research for the Gray Zone, and it's going to be the first show of the new year. And of course, it's going to be like phenomenal. So, providing my fearless co-host isn't like down and out from his booster. I know he's listening.
He's getting his booster tomorrow.
He had it. Yep.
Oh, he had it.
Yep.
I missed everything because I wasn't on in the pre show, so I missed all that.
So please know, people, the intention, of course, is to have the show.
You should be okay. I heard you're just tired from the booster. That's what I was told from.
Yeah, I hear it just kind of kicks the pulp out of you that way.
Yeah.
So for me, it's just I hope so, because it was a hell of a lot of hard work going into this one, let me tell you.
I'm gonna check on my in-laws tomorrow because they went today, and the doctor actually called them to get it. But anyways, I don't approve or disapprove.
Right.
I'm just putting it out there. I'm neutral.
Right.
But yeah, I want to see how they do because they are in that age that maybe they need a little bit more help.
I don't know.
But
The really elderly people seem to breeze through all of this. The rest of us are
my
dying.
in-laws are really good with health. Like they're not ones to get colds and get sick and stuff like that.
Right.
So,
Right.
I hope so. They're
Yeah.
doing well so far. So
far, so good. Knock on wood. So now we've got to read the bio because our guest is going to be joining us.
Oh, I am so sorry. Yes,
No, that's okay.
I'm like
we're
10
just
minutes behind everyone. I'm so sorry. Yeah, because that usually happens before we come on air.
It does.
I'm going to have to read this from here because everything's down.
That's
My
okay.
whiteboard's missing. My microphone's broken.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, whatever's easier.
Yes. I put the whiteboard away for the holidays and I don't remember where it is. So anyways, I'm looking forward to this conversation tonight. It's been a while since we had a guest like this on. I don't think we've ever had a guest like this on. Our guest tonight is a graduate of University of Vermont with a Bachelor of Science degree in Business Administration, served in the U.S. Army. Thank you, sir, for your service. As a field artillery officer in 1991, he joined MUFON, the Mutual UFO Network. He's held several positions, including field investigator, training coordinator for field investigators, and was assistant state director in Northern California, chairman of the Abduction Experiencer Research Committee, and leader of the Abduction Response Team, a facilitator for an abduction support group in San Jose, California. And in 1994, this is so exciting, he co-founded OPUS, the Organization for Paranormal Understanding and Support. So please welcome Les Velez to our show.
Soon as he gets here.
Oh, I thought he was here.
No, he was because he's coming in, so I'm hoping he's not struggling too much. But Zach says, "Oh, hey everybody, just wanted to stop by on a date tonight with my lady. Can't wait to check out the show and play
cheers!
Back. Yeah, exactly. We'll let it go this time.
Yeah, we'll let it go. We'll let it go, Zach, only because you're with her.
I know.
So, we don't mind sharing.
Yeah, there we go. But this is lady mind. That's a whole other thing. So
it's his love of his life. So
yeah,
it's nice that they can go on a date. We can't go anywhere here, just saying.
No, we'll leave that there. We'll leave that there for sure.
Definitely.
Okay. Hold on. Okay, I'm back. There we go. All right. Yeah. So we are just waiting. I'm just checking my email just to make sure that there is no problems with done.
I need to start wearing color. You can't even see my hair.
Oh, it's terrible.
I'm just like one black blob.
Okay. Well, all we can do is wait. So it sounds really fascinating.
OPUS, yes. I love the name.
Abductions on average seems to be a really popular thing to talk about right now, I guess, because, government is coming out now and sort of, making comments like, okay, yes, they're there.
Yeah, right?
Really?
Yeah. Well, they have no choice now. So
no. I mean, UFOs, UAPs for sure, because there's videos all over the place. People have camera phones or capturing photos. I can't tell you how many we've seen just around here, and just weird little things too out there. It's not necessarily just a craft whizzing by or, bright light just hovering and shooting straight up. And sometimes there's these little things that just come right over like the hood of the vehicle. And or right along beside you, and you're just like, it's at night, and it's big, bright thing, and you're just like, what the hell is that? There was one we thought it was like a Chinese lantern. It was just floating up in bright orange, and I'm just like, we sort of looked at each other and went, "What is that?"
What is that? My favorite video clip, whether it's real or not, I don't know, but it's really interesting to see this. There's a group of people on a flight, and they are videotaping out of their windows, and this thing is shaped like
Yeah.
the show Lost in Space kind of thing. So I'm imagining, hi Wayne, I'm imagining it's something maybe of a vessel that they use to come from like the mothership kind of thing.
Right.
But to see so many people have that on their phones and freaking out, I have a hard time not believing that, you know?
Well, I just read this article, like just very recently, how the church was actually bringing priests to prepare the public for extraterrestrial visits or
Yes,
contact. And I'm thinking, how does one necessarily prepare? I mean, I guess for the faithful,
psychologically,
yeah,
because that's what they do is psychology, la, 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 counseling.
blah, blah, yeah, say it
La,
three
la, la.
times. I know.
We have to
So,
ask Bishop James because he was talking about that too.
yeah, see, yeah, I mean, I don't know. We're taught to believe, that we're the only ones here. I mean,
Mhm.
literally, we're taught through our religious belief system for those out there, and there's many different, religions, but on the most part, the Roman Catholic Church, because that's how I grew up initially,
Yeah.
and you're taught in school, Catholic school, no, 2000 years, go. That's when everything started. Nothing else out there. We're the
Yep.
only grain of sand on the entire freaking beach. That's it. So, it's like, wow, all right, not much of a beach, but okay, and and but yet it's strange because even back then, I remember seeing UFOs pretty darn regularly. I remember as a child just running into the living room because we had a huge picture window, and I would just sit there because we were in a valley. It was up north, there were
Yeah,
no
you
lights from the city. It was just
you
beautiful,
could
dark,
see everything.
weren't loaded with satellites. And I'll
Yeah.
tell you, man, you'd see something, we'd see them regularly in that
Mhm.
area. And you have questions and you don't dare talk about it because you were raised to believe no such thing. But now all of a
Yeah.
sudden, the church is taking a different standpoint along with government. So, it goes to show, the Vatican being its own country, I guess, is jumping on board with various governments and saying, okay, cat's out of the bag, exactly as Tamara said. We have to basically come clean because otherwise I would think that you would lose faith in your institution, your religion, your government, thinking, now you're telling us and you've been lying to us all this time and we've been made to believe that we're the crazy ones because these things are actually they do exist. So
Mhm.
how does the church prepare? They're being forced. That's interesting, Tamara. They're being forced to
Forced to
tell.
prepare?
Well, forced to tell. Tamara, why do you think that is? That's a curiosity. Um, so they're being forced. For me, it's like, I guess to a degree, because the public already knows. So what are you going to say when you see all of this stuff? Oh my God, I'm starting to talk like Siri. What are you going to say? What are you
What are you
going to
gonna say?
say?
I know going,
Going,
gonna, and
going.
is really driving me crazy lately. Why is everybody saying to? To is not a word. It's to,
to
T-O, to. It's
Maybe
driving
it's
me
just
insane.
autocorrect. Honestly, she pulverizes me
No, I
and
mean
makes me sound
everybody's
like the
saying
most
it. Everybody's
uneducated
saying
person on the
we're
planet.
gonna and
I'm gonna
to,
do
and I'm
this
like,
and wanna. No,
oh
but
my gosh.
you know, so all of a sudden it's a thing. You can't hide it from the public. Public knows it. Then you got those who don't want to believe it. So maybe having their priests come out, prepare people, don't be fearful. This is
I
why we've been hiding it. We've actually been protecting you. But if you admit to that, do you not have to admit to the fact that civilization was here long before your 2000 years?
okay, when you say the church, you're referring to the Vatican.
I'm the Vatican, the Roman
Okay.
Catholic. I can only go based
Okay.
on how I was raised on the belief system
I
of
know.
my
No,
family
no.
at the time, right?
I totally get that. But
Yeah,
Pope Francis, not that I'm a practicing Roman Catholic, but I was born and raised Roman Catholic, just like Michelle.
right.
Pope Francis
I'm a
has
recovering
always
Catholic.
believed
That's
and
right.
has always talked about it.
Right.
He's always talked about it. He's always been open. I feel with
He's been the more
he's
open-minded of all of them, hasn't he?
he's not well liked by the older generation because of his open-mindedness. Yes, he is
Right.
very open-minded. He believes
Yes.
everyone is God's children. He's more open that way.
Right.
But I have to say, depending on, I've had a lot of priests in my life that are, like similar age. So the belief system's different, and you can
Mm-hmm.
have a conversation with a lot of them. I find that when you have, let's say, some priests from different countries where they're very, very devout and strict and have a different cultural upbringing, that you will find that kind of hardcore, no, 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 this doesn't exist. I can't
Right.
work with this kind of thing. But when you talk to, I find that when you speak to priests nowadays in my area and in where my church, it's a little bit different
Mm-hmm.
view. And the old Catholic Church takes on a different view as well. But yeah, as a church, speaking of the Vatican, they're very far behind. They've
Mm-hmm.
hidden a lot. They're just, with the government's opening, they have no choice. They really don't. And they have to counsel their parish, right? Their
Sorry.
parishioners, they have to counsel them. So that's where that comes in.
Right.
I don't know
This-
how they're going to do with that when they barely acknowledge demonic infestations and exorcisms. And
mhm. I don't know. It is super interesting. Our guest just messaged.
yeah,
He's been waiting since 8:15. I'm like, you're not
where
here.
is he?
I don't know. I
Is he
resent
in
the
the
link.
wrong studio like last week?
Shouldn't be. I sent this link, but I sent this one again
No,
too. So
what if he did what our guest last week, she had an interview prior on
I
StreamYard,
went
which
into
was still
that
there.
one. Yeah,
Just
but you'd be able
yeah,
to see the show, I would think. So I've sent him, this one again, and we'll see. But
yeah.
yeah,
It'd
it's
be interesting to see how they handle this.
yeah. It will be for sure interesting. I'm real curious because it is sort of delicate. You're going to have people panicking, you're going to have people, then you're going to have your thrill seekers who are going to be out there like waiting and looking, and hopefully nobody hurts themselves in the
Yeah.
process. But I think there's a real awakening happening right now. Oh, thanks, Mark. And I think people, for the most part, and this is where a lot of people can agree to disagree. um, I think people are waiting on an average. There is an awakening happening. I think we're really underestimating some people. Not everybody wants to turn a blind eye. I think if people were properly educated, um, not everything is a vicious abduction. I think Preston Dennett, who will be coming back on
Mm.
this year, by the way, I think he specializes in giving really good extraterrestrial experiences.
Yeah.
And it's
He's
like
really
how,
good.
yeah. And Joe has said
Yeah.
many times too. I think it depends on whether you're resisting, what they're looking for, the age. Like there's a lot of different theories as to why some of these things are happening. So, I mean, all we can do at this point is just sort of hope for the best. And I really hope that people can relax with it.
Hmm.
I like that. I'm not one of them, says Bubbles.
No, and I like Tamara's comment. The Vatican has one of the biggest telescopes. That's because of Galileo, though. Yeah, I think I agree. I think parishioners are waiting on their churches to accept this so that they know which direction to go in. Because when you're someone who follows a religion, you're following the lead, so to speak. Please don't
Right.
email me. Um,
Ah,
because I'm Catholic, I get it, you
right.
know. Um,
Right.
but you are waiting for that, especially if you're devout. You're waiting to see how you're supposed to deal with this, just like anyone who's constantly following government protocol.
There he is. Okay. All right.
Okay,
One
great.
second.
Yeah.
Woo! There he is.
About
Wow.
the
Hello.
Well, this has been an interesting day, hasn't it?
It
for all
is.
of us, Les,
All of us.
all of us.
Technology, everything. Yeah.
I went through 3 headsets, and Michelle had to go right through with the intro. Yeah, not good.
I know. And then we
Oh
couldn't
my
find
goodness.
you.
Yeah, the first connection link didn't work. Or I was in there, I could see myself, and it said the host will let you in.
Yeah.
How weird.
Yeah.
That's really, yeah. It may have been just, it's funny because I sent the link to this show, but it might have just been latched on to the last segment still, and that show would be over. So that's why I like to make sure it's completely purged before sending it. And they were logged off, so I thought we'd be safe, but I guess not.
It was the Red Pill show. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It
See, I
was
guess
still,
even
it
though
still
it was
ended
no
there.
longer live, I guess it still attached itself. So, well, you're here now.
Damn
Thank
them.
gosh.
Damn them.
I know. The party's ready to start. Okay.
There you go.
So welcome officially to the outer realm. Wow.
It's really been the outer realm. Okay.
And we both want to say thank you for your service, sir. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Oh, our pleasure. And let's sort of get started. I mean, you just have an amazing bio. Where would you like to start? This is the part where it's your show. You take it where you want to go. We'll follow along.
Sure. Okay. Well, I guess the best place to start is at the beginning. And for me, it started when I was 11 years old. And I was out one late October evening, and I was coming back into the house, and I noticed this silent, oval, whitish object slowly moving over the tree line near my house, and it scared the hell out of me. And I ran in the house. This was when I was 11 years old, and by the time I got my father to come out, it had gone, and he says, "Oh, it's probably a beacon of light reflecting off a cloud." And of course, I didn't buy that. So the next day, I went to the library and started to find some books on UFOs. And back in those days, those ancient times, George Adamski was the big hitter. And so I started to read his books and got really, really interested in it. And so I was into that for a while, reading books about UFOs. And then, I became an adolescent, and girls became a little bit more important in my life. So I, and then I went to college, and then I, went through the ROTC program at the University of Vermont, and subsequently got married and had a couple of kids, and moved out to California in 1985. Right. And I picked up the San Jose Mercury News one day, and Stanton Freeman was going to go to San Jose City College and talk about UFOs and the government cover-up. So, well, that really was like the switch got thrown again. It was like I had really kind of forgotten about the whole UFO thing for many years. And then I said, okay, I've got to go see him speak about this. And I went to the college, and the auditorium was packed. I couldn't believe it. I figured there'd just be a handful of people there, but it was, like 300 people. And so he gave one of his inimitable, lectures. And so I really got jazzed. And MUFON happened to have a table in the foyer, and they were talking about, the journal that they produce once a month. And so I decided, okay, I'm going to get the journal and try to get caught up on the latest events. Well, after a while, that wasn't enough for me. And I became a field investigator. And that's when things really got interesting, because almost without exception, the cases that I got involved with not only were sightings, but they were abductions that transpired after these sightings. And so these people would ask me, if I knew of other people having similar experiences. And I said, yes, I do know. And so the next thing, I'm facilitating a support group in San Jose. And that's when things really, for me, I learned so much from listening to these people tell their stories about, the types of events that had occurred with them, more than any book that I had picked up at that time. And this was in the early 90s when this was all going on. And one of the cases that I got involved with was a couple that had been picnicking in a state park just north of Santa Cruz. And they were coming out, and it was getting to be dusk. And this is a very hilly area of North Santa Cruz. And so they were at the top of the park, and they were walking down, starting to walk down, and they noticed this light over the ocean. And so this light, started to get bigger and bigger until literally it was over their heads. And that's when they ascertained that this was not just a light, it was a triangular craft about the size of a small Learjet. And so this thing silently proceeded to go into a canyon behind them and sat there. And then they noticed another light over the ocean, and the same scenario happened. And this thing eventually was over their heads. And the first, craft that they saw, they felt they were looking at it. And the second craft that came over their heads, they felt it was looking at them. And then they started to be concerned about the situation. And so after this happened 5 more times, these craft were sitting in this canyon, and then all of a sudden it was like they went around a corner, but there was no corner. I mean, it's just like they blinked out. And so they proceeded to leave the park, and at this point it was pretty dark already. And this path that they had to take out of the park, even during the day, was kind of treacherous. It was rocky and steep, and it was dark because it was quite covered by a lot of vegetation and trees. And so even during the day, it was dark. And they felt like they were on autopilot. They felt like they were drifting down out of the park. And that's the last thing they remember until they kind of woke up at a restaurant that's typically 5 to 10 minutes away from where they were. And they had 3 hours of missing time.
Wow.
And so they eventually came to one of the support group meetings, and they had developed a rash on their body. And they had taken a picture of it, and they showed it around to the group, and almost without exception, they all said that they had a similar rash at some point in one of their experiences. And so one of the people, well, before that, they said that they had gone to a doctor, and doctor said, well, it's not poison oak or poison ivy. And there's a lot of poison oak in this particular part of the park, but it wasn't that. And then they went to another doctor, and they said, well, maybe some kind of a reaction to something, but we don't know what it is. And so one of the people in the group said, well, I believe I know what it is. And so we said, okay, what do you feel it is? And he says, well, it's a reaction to the fluid that they dip you in when they bring you on board the craft to sanitize you.
Wow.
So that was quite a revelation. And so, one of the things that happened shortly thereafter, I was written up in an article in the Monterey Coast Weekly paper, and about what I was doing for MUFON, investigations I was doing. And there was another woman that was written up in the article as well, and she contacted me afterwards and said, I'd like to understand what's going on with my brainwaves when I'm in contact with these off-earthly entities. And so I said, okay. And I'm saying to myself, scratching my head, that's why I don't have a lot of hair up here.
My father would have said it was because of me.
how can I possibly help her? And then she mentioned that she was working with an emergency room doctor down in Carmel. And so that piqued my interest because I had a doctor friend in MUFON that was very interested in trying to connect with other doctors that were interested in this phenomena. And so I called him up and I said, I think we need to go down there and check with this woman, and because it sounds like a very interesting case. And so we did, and it was a Saturday afternoon that we had gone down there. And as we walked into her house, there was a picture on the wall of her standing on the back of a rather large vessel. And so I said to her, I says, what is this? And she says, oh, that's me standing on the back of this ship that these treasure hunters are trying to find some treasure. I said, well, what are you doing with these guys? She says, well, I was helping them. I said, well, how were you helping them? And she says, well, I was in contact with the captain of the galleon that had gone down. And so, okay, that's interesting. And she was extremely psychic, and she had become psychic after a near-death experience. And so the rest of the afternoon was amazing because she was telling us stuff about ourselves that there was no possible way that she could know, because we're meeting her for the first time. And so we came away that afternoon, late that afternoon, saying, how can we possibly help people and in these types of situations? And so that's when our nonprofit organization, OPUS, the Organization for Paranormal Understanding and Support, was hatched. And in 1994, we officially became a nonprofit 501c3 recognized by the IRS, which cracks me up every time I say that.
Right.
The IRS is involved with the paranormal.
Right. Yeah, but I think they do go hand in hand. Sorry, Amelia?
Sorry, we have a lot of feedback.
Oh, yeah, probably. Do you have any headphones, Les?
Do I?
Nothing. No.
Yes, I do.
Okay, that might cut back the feedback that we're hearing coming from you.
Oh, okay.
Just because your mic and your speaker are next to each other.
Okay.
So if we're all if we all laugh or we're all talking, it just goes.
Oh,
right.
Well, that's not good.
Okay.
Right.
That's okay.
Yeah, that's all right. That's okay.
If you do, if you don't, it's okay. I'll just mute my mic.
Yeah.
It's okay.
I mean, paranormal and ufology eventually cross. Can you hear us okay?
Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
Perfect. That sounds great. Thank you.
Perfect. Okay.
Yeah, that sounds really good.
Got my earmuffs on now.
No,
I need that headset. You just went
perfect.
from talking to radio voice.
Radio
Hello.
voice.
How are you?
Yeah, there we go. Perfect. All right. Now it's going to get
I used to do when I was living in Connecticut, did a radio program with on Fairfield University station, and it was called Jukebox Saturday Night, where we cruise the golden years of rock and roll.
I love it.
Nice.
I love it. I love that.
What song can we play for you, my dear?
Oh my gosh, I love that era. I could give you 100.
Anyway, so we've been doing that since basically 1994. And people have talked to me over the years about, well, you should probably write a book about this thing. And so finally this past year, I wrote a book called The Unknown Other and the Existential Proposition of Alien Contact.
Wow.
And in it, I try to, first of all, give some background on the organization, but really go into the physical nature of contact, the psychological nature of contact, um, addressing the debunkers, as far as, well, it's false memory, it's, paralysis, sleep paralysis, um, other issues that come up all the time.
Mm.
So, and the bottom line is, it's so important that you know I finally got MUFON back in 2007 to really start looking at the abduction phenomenon instead of just being a nuts and bolts type of organization. And they finally tasked me to do a study, and I did that. And the outcome was the omega-3 study, where we took 71 people that had been abducted or felt that they had been abducted, and 51 as a control group. And we found out some pretty interesting things. But I think the main thing was that they weren't fantasy prone and that they didn't have a psychopathology.
Mm.
So the question then comes to be, so what's going on? You know,
Mm-hmm.
are they lucid dreaming, which certainly is the case in a lot of cases.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but then there's the cases where you have physical evidence of the
Mm-hmm.
abduction, whether
Mm-hmm.
it's implants or marks on the body, and things of that nature. There, people say, well, you need proof. Well, there's evidence
Mm.
that is irrefutable, that these people are experiencing something pretty damn dramatic.
Is it because there's a lot of theories out there with implants and so on?
Mhm.
Do you, in your opinion, think that they're extraterrestrial abductions, or could they be government abductions?
Yeah, I think that, people talk, well, is it extraterrestrial in nature? Is it
Mm.
interdimensional in nature? Is
Mm.
it time travel? Is it the
Right.
military? Well, I believe it's all the above. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I
Okay.
think that it's all happening.
And
Uh,
percentage wise, what do you think is the greatest
I'm
out
sorry,
of
what?
out of everything you've just mentioned?
Mhm.
Percentage wise, what is the most common?
Well, I think that probably, certainly the grays come up more and
So
more than
18.
anything. Um, and then you have the orbs are the
Mm.
second thing that comes up. And
Mm-hmm.
then the third thing is interdimensionals. And the fourth thing is ghosts, poltergeist activity.
Right.
That is also,
Yeah.
these things are all interconnected.
Like
I mean,
psychokinesis, projection.
all of this is connected, and
Right.
and we just don't fully understand it. And
Right.
that's why it's so important for the scientific community to
Mm.
really, roll their sleeves up and get involved. And of course, that's been really difficult for them,
Yeah.
because of the laugh curtain that's associated with this topic. And
Yeah.
being ridiculed, and you could lose your job. Look like, John Mack. He
Mm.
almost lost his job, uh, you know,
Yeah.
working with these people that felt that they had been abducted.
No, it's true. I think now, of course, when, since the government has come out with their disclosure, it's being taken, at least that part of it's being taken a little bit more seriously with respect to the military's disclosure. Um, when you talk about interdimensional beings, what falls under that category? Like in your,
Well,
according to your research.
Well, I think what it is like these portals will open up in people's houses,
Mm.
and an entity will come
Right.
through. This non-human intelligence will come through,
Right.
um, and so, utilizing the word interdimensional is a very broad brush. But the
Hmm.
bottom
No,
line is
it's
that
true.
they're, people talk about angelic beings. There's a plethora of
Mm.
descriptive uh, used in regard to these non-human intelligences, if you will.
Right, right. Do you find that because you have two, well, you've got three groups of people. You've got those who don't believe in the religious terminology of angels and demons. You have those who, and they only believe in the extraterrestrial. No, a demon would be, let's say, reptilian. Like there's that counterbalance. And you have people in the middle who think, no, there could be each. There could be angels and demons, and they are separate from, let's say, a Palladian, or Andromedan, for example, might be an angelic being. What are your thoughts on that? Because you're dealing with the mindset of people, right?
Yeah, I
how
think
they perceive based on their beliefs.
sure, and it even gets more basic than that. I mean, you have the people that believe they're all good, and you have the people that believe they're all bad,
Right.
and whatever they are.
Right.
And I think it's really a combination of both, just like we have here on Earth. We got good people and we got bad people,
Exactly.
and
That's the
we got
best. That's the best
we,
way to describe it.
and the same thing is going on up there or wherever you want to call that
Yes.
area. And so it's I don't think you can just say, they're only angels or they're only demons.
Right.
It's probably both. It's probably both.
Oh, I've met people who are completely the other way. Everything is extraterrestrial.
Yeah.
You've got one group that's like, nope, it's only the religious aspect. Other group, nope, it's only the ufology aspect. And then you have those in the middle that are like, no, they're pretty open-minded. They can believe that.
Yeah, and we don't have a definitive answer.
No.
We really don't.
I agree.
That's the problem. If
Right.
we had a definitive answer to tell people like, yes, it's only this, and then you have to deal with it in this way. Well, each situation is different, and so we have a plethora of entities that are coming in in ways that are seem like magic, for us, because we just don't understand the technology that they're utilizing.
Right. Do you find that the bots are at it again? Do you find when it comes to abductions or contact experiencers, is it mostly, are they being abducted aboard crafts, or do you have those people that have extraterrestrials literally coming straight out of a portal right into their houses? Are they holograms? Are they?
Yeah, you have all the above. You have people being dematerialized, so to speak, pulled through walls, through windows,
That's crazy.
up
That's
to a
crazy.
craft.
Right.
You have out of body experiences that people have, where they actually commune with these entities in that state. Um, and so there's multiple ways that these things are occurring. It's not just one way. The portals will open up in a room, a beam of light will come through, and then what happens after that? That's also very interesting, because each of these things sometimes have different outcomes as far as people that talk about really negative experiences, really dramatic physical effects that occur during examinations and being probed in various ways that are quite painful. And then others that don't seem to have that kind of a relationship or experience, more positive experience.
Does it
And
depend on the species, or is this?
yeah, well, I mean, it's like, I think even within species, it can be different. Depends on if you get a good guy or a bad guy.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Right.
you can't. It's very difficult to just put it in a box and say,
Right.
"This is it. This is the only way it can be."
Right.
Well,
It's not like
Very
that.
Hollywood. It's very Hollywood to put it in a box.
Yeah.
My greatest fear, I talk about this all the time. I actually even brought it up to Stan Friedman like a long time ago, but the movie The Fourth Kind, Michelle's gonna laugh. It freaked the crap out of me. I'm not going to lie. And as many people that tell me it isn't real, I still believe that there's so much truth to those experiences.
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you. Finally, because seriously, it freaks me out. Yeah.
Yeah, and it probably should. It's the kind of thing where the unknown can be a place of fear, and that we need to try to better understand it, and then not be fearful. And that's the one thing that Opus has tried to do to help people having these types of experiences, and whether it's through our online support group, which is totally international, totally confidential. If you go to our website, opusnetwork.org, there's a support button there, and you fill out a short form. And then if you're looking for to be included in the support group, we'll contact you and talk to you and get you into the group. And then other people are looking for hypnotherapists, and we have relationships with hypnotherapists around the country that we can refer people to, which is, some people, want to dig deeper. Of course, we always, counsel these people that, hey, you sure you want to really dig deeper, because you may find out something you don't want to know.
Because you can't undo. Well, I mean, I guess you probably scrub it, but that's not the case,
once,
right?
Once the paste is out of the tube, so to speak,
you can't get it back in. No, and if you do, it's not the same way. It's really scary. I think that's why I've held back on past life regression, and a lot of people do, because they're afraid exactly of that. That's such a great point.
And that's past life. That's not even
this life, and regressing to see if you have been abducted. So,
well, I'm glad you brought that up, because, let me give you a little story. One of the support group meetings I attended and facilitated, a person said to me one day, "I've seen you before." I said, "Oh, where? At a UFO conference?" No. I saw you on board the craft.
Ha, nice.
And I said, "Okay." So I kind of blew it off. I said, I don't think so. It was probably a year and a half, 2 years later, a totally different person said, "Hey, I've seen you before." I said, "Where? A UFO conference, something?" "No, I saw you sitting on this bench on the craft naked, and you were freaking out, and they told me to go over to you to calm you down." So then I decided, okay, I'm going to go get regressed, and I'm going to see
if someone's seen you naked and you don't know them,
that alone is
want to be regressed too. I'd be like, wait a second, what exactly are you doing to me when I'm up there?
Yeah. So anyway, I did. I had 3 separate regressions, and I found nothing with regard to alien contact. However, I had multiple past lives, and each one was rather interesting. And so someone finally said to me one day, after I brought this up, that perhaps you had, been abducted in a past life. And that's what people are seeing in some way, shape, or form. And reincarnation is something now that a lot of the people in our support group have been talking about recently. That it's a pretty significant factor, and this goes to the fact that we don't die, folks. Our energy continues out into the universe, and then we can come back, maybe as a different person totally, or a different animal or something else. Who knows? But evidently, the more I talk to these experiencers, the more it comes up that we are have been reincarnated in many times. And so it's very interesting, you know.
Well, yeah, I mean, past life abductions, also lineage, right? Because usually people who've been abducted have found out that, you know, or contacted, because not everything's an abduction. Sometimes they're just contact. But it's happened to family members like parents, grandparents, great grandparents.
Oh,
You hear
sure.
stories in the woodpile that it happened somewhere way back, you know. So that's,
Absolutely.
I wonder,
Yeah.
you're
I
getting
mean,
kind of
besides
like some
besides
DNA stuff.
generational
Yeah,
things, yeah, it's very prevalent
yeah.
that once people, um, and unfortunately, in a lot of cases, families don't want to talk about it. And
Old
so
school too, though, right?
they,
What?
they they just don't get the kind of support that they need, or to find out that in fact their grandmother or even their mother or father,
Mhm,
um, uh, was had an experience like that. And then you have military people that it's very common
mhm,
to being abducted, and indigenous peoples are
Mhm.
seem to be quite prevalent with regard to the abduction phenomena.
mhm,
Uh, so it's so widespread. It's incredible. I mean, you guys probably know about the Roper report that was done back in the early 90s, where they figured out there must have been 6 million people that had an experience like that. And can you imagine today how many more people? And it's a worldwide phenomena. It just it doesn't happen here in the United States. It's all over the world.
It is. It is. And I think when you're dealing back with mindsets and really staunch religious belief systems going like back in the day, it would be hard to get them to open up about something like that, or maybe to even acknowledge it. I'm fortunate in my family that I could go back, like my grandfather, you know, my grandparents would talk about it very
Mhm,
freely. Like, oh
mhm,
yeah, we saw this or we saw that. My parents were the same. You know, I'm the
Not my
same.
house.
Can't speak for my great grandparents, mind you, but they were
mhm.
all very woo woo, you know.
Yeah.
So who knows, you know, like healers and things like that. So, but not all people are open like that. And sometimes they're held back just by the religious belief system.
No, that's true. And a lot of times when these people have had an experience, they can't even talk to their clergy,
Oh, for
members of
sure.
their church or anything like that. Which it's sad. It's very sad.
Hmm.
And so, you know, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to help people, and as best we can with either the online support group, the referral to hypnotherapists or mental health practitioners.
Mm,
And so we hope to continue down this path for a long time. And finally, the book that I just put out there, I try to put it on a level where people can pick it up and read it, and get an overview of what these people are dealing with,
mhm, mhm.
whether it's the aliens themselves, what's going on with them personally, and what type of remedies there may be. And then in the book also there's about 25 stories from people in the support group that have told their stories. And there's some very interesting stories that people will find there.
Right, right. Yeah, we'll put it up on the page, and it can be found. Is it like I've got your website up on the page? Do they go directly to you for the book, or do they go to Amazon? Where do they go
Yeah,
for it?
they can go two places. They can go to our website, and there's a picture of the book on the home page. You click on that, and it'll take you to Amazon, and that's where it is.
Okay.
And the Kindle version is $9.99, and the non-Kindle version is $20. And uh, you
So
know,
very
as a
reasonable.
nonprofit, we depend on donations, and matter of fact, all the money that is received for the books goes directly to Opus. I don't get anything for it.
Wow,
It's
Oh,
just
very nice. Very nice.
that's generous of you.
Um, let's talk hybrids.
mhm.
That seems to be a word that's coming up a lot lately. Hybrids.
It is. It's kind of thing where I vacillate back and forth on this thing because, if you listen to Gary Nolan from Stanford University talk about the fact that, well, we don't have alien DNA. So it's very difficult for us to say that this person, XYZ person is part alien because we don't have a sample of the alien DNA.
Right.
So then it becomes a factor of whether or not you believe what these people are saying to you, that they've had an experience and they feel that they are a hybrid. Now, having said that, I don't know if you're familiar with a book called Rachel's Eyes.
Yes, I am.
Okay. So that's a fascinating story. And Helen Luttrell was in our support group in San Jose, and
Wow.
I know her well. And her daughter went to school with a hybrid, and
Wow.
the military was involved with it, bringing her food to eat, special food that she needed to eat.
Really? Tell us more.
Yeah, like
and and
that's
and so they and so Helen's daughter was rooming with this person and
how.
at I think it was Humboldt College in Northern California.
Oh
Right.
wow.
And so this military person would come occasionally and take her away and then bring her back. And finally, Helen went with them one time. There's a base supposedly in Nevada where a lot of these hybrids are being taken care of, and it's about 90 miles southwest of Ely, Nevada. And I've been tempted to go jump in a car and go out there, but I haven't made it
And be
yet.
a naughty lass and go out there.
I hope you have lots of cameras and friends and
Yeah,
security, because I
but
can't imagine it'd be easy to cross that.
but yeah, and supposedly there's an organization in the military that constantly is retrieving crashed UFOs and aliens, and and then some of them, you know, it's unbelievable story. Yeah, if you haven't read the whole thing, it's a fascinating book.
I have to read that. Dave
Yeah, it's
Petrella just tuned in, and he's asking exactly the question I was just going to ask. Dave, we have that like telepathic thing going. He says, "Hi everyone. Do you know what kind of food she required?" So she never told you what it was, or
it was a specially marked container. And no, we don't know what was in it. We don't know what was in
so
it.
they obviously have a digestive system, hybrids, because
Yes,
she's eating, but she always ate special food. She never ate
right,
normal like us.
right,
Never.
never.
Well, you
And she
kind
always,
of stand out when you're not with your friends in college going for pizza and burgers. Like you kind of stand out. So
oh yeah.
I'm just curious at the fact that they would, if they have a base where they keep them.
Well,
why would they let
they
her
tried to
out to be
do with her,
exposed?
what they tried to do with her was to get her more acclimated to being with humans. And she had unusual features. She always wore glasses or some kind of protection over her eyes and a large hat, and kept to herself pretty much all the time, other than when she was in class. But
a large hat.
yeah, a large hat. Yeah. Yeah. So
That's interesting. And from what I understand, that she didn't they didn't keep her there too long, did they?
no,
She just sort of
no.
disappeared one day. So they
Yeah.
probably just pulled her.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So these things are, Yeah.
That is so fascinating.
So I don't know.
I've never heard that.
That always pulls me back to the idea. Well, there may be hybrids, based on the fact that, but maybe she was basically an alien that looked enough like us that they could try to see
Get
if
away
they
with it.
yeah, they could get away with it in a way, but
So
who
what's
knows?
your thought then on maybe hybridization happened a really, really long time ago with the Rh negative blood?
Yeah, that's an interesting fact. 40,000 years ago, supposedly the Rh negative popped up, and
Yeah.
and then in the book I also talk about that, and the O negative factor is probably very prevalent in a lot of the abductees. That's like the number one, and then.
Mm-mm. Mm. Never
Denial.
been abducted. No.
Yeah. Okay. Are you sure?
Yeah.
Positive.
That's what I say, but you won't
Let me
fall for
Positive.
it.
look in my eyes.
My eyes are
Hypnosis right here on
hazel.
the
They
other
don't
realm.
fall into blue or green. They're hazel.
I have
Yeah.
hazel eyes that go
Yes.
blue and green.
Yeah, mine
Yeah.
don't go blue and green. They go more like an amber.
Hmm.
Amber and green. Yeah.
But yeah, it's such a fascinating topic. I mean, and it's can be the biggest thing ever
Mhm.
if we can truly connect and understand what this is all about. And as far as the hybridization process, taking sperm and eggs and then utilizing it to create another being.
Mhm.
What's the
It's being
ultimate
done now.
end goal? Are they going to take over the planet? Based
Well,
on the fact that they've done such a great job that you can't
mhm,
recognize a hybrid um,
you might not. Maybe you
from
have the
you and I.
obvious, but
Maybe the three of us are hybrids. Who knows?
maybe,
Mm.
maybe, you don't know that. That's just the thing. I mean,
Yep.
they could create a human being in a laboratory now, just for people who want to be parents. So I mean, I don't see it being a really difficult task, especially if they're taking negative blood type people who have already basically been in a way hybridized. And over time, I mean, evolution over 40,000
Hmm.
years is going to be pretty impeccable.
Right.
And here we are.
Not
Yeah.
all are negative, right? Not all are
No,
O
No.
negative.
No. No.
Yeah.
No.
well, I think any negative blood type on the average, negative blood type
Yeah.
is negative
A
blood type.
negative is another group that's very very common as far as being
Mhm,
abducted.
mhm.
Um, so if in fact they are doing this to eventually take over the planet, we should know that. uh,
Yeah,
that's a fact that we should absolutely know. Um, and it's difficult to ascertain whether or not that's the case. There's
but
just
I think could they not do it any other way? I mean, there's other theories like there's one I think it's called soul stealing, where they just take your essence and they can pop it into AI, they can pop it into like a whole other alien.
you know I I I,
Wow.
I don't have a whole lot of experience with that particular
Yeah, we interview a lot of
realm,
people.
but
I'm just spitting this stuff out. So
Yeah.
yeah, no, but it's if you think about it, what is your soul? Is that
essence,
your
energy.
energy? Is that your
Yeah,
essence? Okay.
yeah.
And if
Hmm.
that's the case, when a person has a near death experience, they float above their body, they can see their body, they can see everybody in the
Hmm.
room, you know?
Hmm.
So yeah,
Trap it.
somebody could take that,
Hmm.
and capture it and do with
Well,
it what they will.
look at, for example, somebody who's been in a coma for a long period of time.
Yeah.
And who's because I mean, we know you don't just sit in the vehicle when it's parked, chances are you're off floating around doing your thing and just waiting for the body to heal itself or to be woken up. And there have been it's like step-ins. You know, there have been people who have woken up and they have no idea that they've been married to this person for 20 years, for example, or that they have a family. They're just a totally different individual altogether, and they end up going on and having a totally separate life. Like it's not even, you know, like there have been spouses or family members and parents are saying that's not even who we know.
Yeah. Yeah.
If
That's
it's
that's
if it's
tragic now when that happens. Absolutely.
It is, but if it's that easy for us to be in control,
Mhm.
let's say, you know, you get bumped out, somebody else comes back in, who knows what's out there?
Yeah. You know, they talk about the fact that if these aliens are so intelligent, why are
Mhm.
they continuing to do what they're doing? If you know they could, you know, have gotten all the samples they need, you know, eons ago,
Mhm.
and just left, or you know, did what they wanted to do already. But it's
Unless maybe they're
I
just
think
following
it's
certain families.
well, I think it's like a classroom,
Mhm.
for instance, where you know you have new young people coming up, the young aliens coming up, and you have to teach them. So you
Right.
bring them down here. It's like what we do with dolphins, for instance. You know, we go out in the ocean and we'll pull a dolphin out of the water and we'll take a blood sample and
Mhm.
we'll tag him and we'll throw him in the water. And then a year later, we'll come back and we capture the same dolphin and we
Right.
take some more blood and we check the tag, you
Mhm.
know, and we throw him
You're
back
not
in the
wrong.
water. And
Yeah, you're not wrong.
it's there's so many parallels to a lot of the things that we do here on
Mhm.
Earth, but we're
Right.
not at the top of the food chain, folks. Uh,
Yeah.
there's
No.
a whole nother level and reality that exists
Mhm.
alongside or even
Mhm.
within our own space.
I
Uh,
want to be a blue whale. I don't want to be a dolphin.
oh, okay, blue whale.
Dolphins.
No, because blue whales, you can never find them.
That's right. They go down really low. But
They,
has your organization researched Carl Sagan's theory on dolphins? Speaking of dolphins, he believed he and other scientists formed an organization called the Order of the Dolphin because they believed that dolphins would be the key to teaching them how to communicate with extraterrestrials. And in
hmm,
saying that, there have been sightings of people who have seen like crafts hovering over the water and dolphins are congregating underneath them.
no, I've not heard that. That's interesting.
It's
I
such
almost felt
amazing
when I read
data.
that, I was like,
Yeah.
wow. It's like,
Yeah, no,
because they're
that's
so intelligent, right?
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
they
They
are.
are.
They're very intelligent, and you know they seek help when needed. I saw.
Yeah.
Did you see that where a
With
dolphin
the
had
diver.
some? Yeah, with a diver, and he
Yeah.
had some fishing line or something caught, and came
Mhm.
right over and knew exactly what to do. And
It brought the diver to his friend or his
yeah,
whoever,
And
his
saved them.
yep,
family, and
yep.
saved him. Yeah, it was
But they're
beautiful.
highly intelligent. But if you think even about how a dolphin communicates in its speech sort of thing, the sounds that it
Hmm.
makes, there are some who have claimed that grays tend to sound the same. Certain species of grays with their
Hmm.
clicking and clacking.
Hmm.
Yeah. What tell us a little bit about that, Les. What kind of things do you hear from your abductees for sounds and language, or
Yeah.
is it telepathic or is it sounds?
It's yeah, like 90% is telepathic, and
Okay.
yeah, that seems to be the common modality that is utilized. You know,
Mhm.
great majority of it. There are, you know, you said clicking. It could be some of the sounds that are heard, or kind
Mm.
of squealy type of sounds as well.
Mhm.
But no, the majority is totally telepathic.
Right. Right.
Do they ever give a message, a common message with all of
The one seemingly most common thing you hear is the fact that, hey, we need to be better stewards of the planet.
Mm.
You know, we
Yeah,
need to be
that's
better,
the big
better,
one.
better to one another.
Mhm.
You
Right.
know, and
Mhm.
boy, do we need that at this during this time? Oh my
I
God.
know,
We
right? It's a
do.
crazy time. It's
We
very
Uh,
sad.
do. it's almost like they've left the kids in charge of the planet, of the house.
The teacher left the classroom.
And they're like, okay, we've had enough. Y'all smarten up or we're coming down. Don't make me go down there.
I love that. It's like having a supply teacher.
I think kids would do a better job than what's going on right now.
I think so.
They are the saviors of the future planet. True. They really are.
And that's an interesting point in and of itself. I mean, the generation that's coming up now are incredibly smart. I mean, I see my grandchildren and the things that they're doing at the age that they're doing it, it's like phenomenal. And you just wonder where they're going to be in another 50, 60 years. It's just incredible.
But where are we going to be in another 50, 60 years?
Well, I know where I'm going to be.
I refuse to go there. No. You know, maybe again, it's like keeping the cycle going. So they're, you know, they are becoming more intelligent. Humanity's becoming more intelligent. And I think extraterrestrials, I mean, are they playing a part of that in a way?
Well, I think they're causing us to really, you know, like the UAPs that were spotted by the Air Force, you know, back in 2004 over the Nimitz there. You know, that's causing people to think and say, you know, what is that? How could that possibly be? It's, you know, it's beyond our physics, you know, to understand that. And so it is forcing people to reevaluate things. And certainly the abduction phenomena is a big factor with people, that there's a whole millions of people that are experiencing this thing. And so what is that going to do? That is giving us a totally different worldview, a different way to understand, you know, our place in the universe, so to speak. And I think it's a good thing. And it's unfortunate that some people are having very negative experiences, but like 70% of the people that have been abducted don't want it to stop. They just don't want it to stop.
Wow. Can you elaborate on that a little bit more? Because before you came on, we were just talking about the psychological part of things, how the church was, you know, bringing priests out to try to prepare their people for possible contact. So this is actually a really positive attribute. Like, if you can elaborate on that.
Oh, sure. Yeah. You know, there's been a couple of studies. And matter of fact, I'm right in the middle of we just finished the first phase of a study where we went out to therapists and had them take a questionnaire, which we're going to be publishing here shortly, and the types of things that they have dealt with people that have had experiences, and you know, like I said earlier, you know, predominantly the grays are involved. And then there's orbs, and then there's interdimensionals, and then there's poltergeist activity, which is interesting, associated with this. So the whole thing is just simply, you know, it's hard to put, you know.
The people are obviously having a really deep connection to these beings if they don't want it to stop.
Oh, yeah. And you know, it's like three phases, where the first phase is, you know, can be quite scary, disturbing. But then the second phase is where they begin to accept it. And then the third phase is, why is it stopped? It's almost like the Stockholm syndrome, where these people, you know, are wondering, well, how come they're not coming for me anymore?
What did I do wrong?
Yeah. So, you know, these studies that have been done, it's 70 to 80% just don't want it to stop.
Wow.
So it, you know, they've come to accept it and appreciate it, and they all don't. A lot of them in that group feel it's a very loving experience, that these beings are actually trying to help in some way, shape, or form.
That's good.
Yeah, which is good. And then there's other people that feel, especially the ones that have had negative experiences, that these are lying son of a bitches, and that we should shoot them. You
Do
know.
you, do you think they have negative experiences because they're afraid and they're
Maybe they're
creating something
fighting.
and they're miscommunicating, misunderstanding their,
That's
why they're there?
Yeah, that's a good question, and that's a distinct possibility that you attract what you are, or what you're feeling,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
if there's, but I don't know. I tend not to lean too heavily on that. I think that because these instances are very traumatic in the beginning,
Mm.
that no matter what, when hey, how would you like to come home and you walk into your bedroom and there's a gray standing there, and it's gonna freak you out.
Well,
It's
ask
happened.
Michelle that question
It's happened. Oh yeah,
because
no, it's
she's been
happened.
through it a few times. So,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I just went to bed one night and I was just settling in and I wasn't even asleep yet. Then all of a sudden I look and there's a gray. I mean, I could almost reach out and touch it. It was so close I could see like the little pores and the skin. And I really wasn't sure how to react. Because I had a lot of little things leading up to that. It's not like it was just
Mhm,
there one day. I mean, I've
mhm.
been having childhood experiences, so but I mean, there's been lights that have shot through the house, things like that, and so I just sort of looked at it and went, nope, and rolled over and just went to bed. Just went to sleep.
you
It's like
think you went
nope.
to sleep. You think.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
not
See,
sure.
in
Yeah.
my
yeah,
mind, I
You went to
yeah.
happily
sleep.
went to sleep,
And they
and
could have given you that just so they could take you. Like, sure, you go to
oh
bed,
yeah,
but you're
I've
coming
woken up
with
with
us.
hands on my head, things like
Yeah.
that. But
Yeah.
but yeah, I
I
slept
don't
full
I
on. It
don't
was
have those
4.5,
experiences. Yeah.
5 feet. Just
Yeah,
sat there looking at me. And it was like, nope.
yeah, like you said, you had some previous experiences that
Oh, without a doubt.
kind of
Yeah.
got you in a right mindset, so to speak, and
Well, yes
uh,
and no. There's still lurkers when they're showing up in your room
oh
at night.
yeah,
So
yeah.
when you
It's
have
like,
that experience as a child, that's kind of like alien foreplay. Like I
yeah, I
don't
don't know. I don't know, but there've
okay.
been a lot of experiences. I think what sort of prepped us was just like there have been like we had at one time. This is a big um, Gothic revival manor house with walls 3 feet thick.
Mm,
And one day something shot through one side of the house and the windows just shook and it shot straight through right out the other windows and the windows shook. And
wow.
we found out like later on that night that something came through and a car went off the road and hit the neighbor's house.
Mm,
Oh yeah,
That
and
night we were at the
we
studio.
were at the
Yeah.
studio at the time, and so we're thinking, like, what did like something just shoot in front of this car and it veered off because it's a huge intersection. There's no way,
right.
you know. At
He
other
took out
times,
half her house. Where this
this
isn't a
woman, the
this isn't
neighbor,
a this isn't just
the
a
same
crush.
time.
He went right through into her kitchen.
Oh
Oh,
yeah,
jeez.
Yeah.
and so it's like he veered off of this huge intersection.
Mm,
To
But there've been
avoid
other
something.
times where, again, I go to bed and there's this big bright light, and it just shoots through the window. It hit one of the mirrors in the room, reflected, bounced right back out, and shook the window.
wow.
And I'm just like, shit, that was freaking amazing. What do? You see something like that, but it's not the first time. I mean, lots of things like that have happened.
Mhm.
Did not expect to see, Buddy just pop up there one night, but
But
Buddy,
yeah, yeah.
I don't
But
know.
I'd be screaming. I think it's
you
just
had a good mindset though,
Yeah.
as far as this. It was something that was not something that you brought any baggage with you, so to speak,
No, but I'll
in
be
a
clear.
negative way. In a
N-
negative way.
No, but I don't want to make it look like I'm a poster girl for this stuff either, because there were times where I was very much on edge, thinking
Mm.
like, okay, why are you constantly in the house?
Yeah. And what are you doing?
Yeah.
It's intrusive. It's intrusive.
It is. And
Yeah.
I think as an experiencer or contactee or abductee, I think you have to factor all of that in. Like, are you prepared to have your privacy invaded? This is a big house, so there are parts of it, the light bothers them. So there's parts of this house that don't get used. So we just leave it dark and all kinds of commotion going on all the time. But the house is also haunted. So we're like, who's at it now?
Who's here now? Yeah.
Guys, or is it the ghosts? Like,
I think you should ask less the question of the darkness, because you have that severe. I'll let Michelle tell you that.
Good one, Bubbles. That's a great one.
No problem. It's a constant.
No, it's true. Do the light bother? Does the light bother their eyes? Like, I know they wear lenses, some of them, things like that, but it's just like they kind of lurk in the darkness all the time.
And they create a deeper darkness in your home.
Oh, the darker than black phenomenon. Yes.
Yeah, the shadow people and things of that nature.
Well,
But
no, when they're around, the house goes pitch black inside, even though there are bright lights that come in from the street and stuff.
Yeah, it's almost like a fog. Dark fog.
Really dark.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds so familiar, doesn't it, Michelle? Almost like a fog.
Yeah.
I said that.
Yeah. I think that it depends on what you're dealing with. I think it can vary. I mean, so many instances where bright yellow lights or bright blue lights or precede entities coming in. Robert Salas, who I met at the MUFON Symposium in Las Vegas in July, actually sat down with me and told me he's an experiencer. He's had this bright yellow light all of a sudden show up in his bedroom, and he and his wife experienced it. And after this experience, his wife became a healer. She got the power to heal people. Heal people, which is another thing. And then, of course, you have the opposite, where people have been healed by these entities as well.
Yes.
So this phenomenon is all over the place, literally, from whatever type of a entity it may be to what people are experiencing with them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's a beautiful thing when you get a gift like that, though, from them.
So I guess the key is mindset, right? You will attract what is up here.
Yeah, I think that that certainly people have preconceived notions of what they may be dealing with. Some this goes back eons, where people were talking about angels and demons mostly. And nowadays it's aliens, extraterrestrials, interdimensional, time travelers, just like the Rendlesham Forest case.
Yes.
Supposedly it's us 40,000 years in the future coming back to collect some DNA or something because they screwed up.
I gotta go back and fix your error.
Oh my gosh, you've got me thinking everything right now. But I need to take a moment to do a station ID. I'm going to get into a lot of trouble.
Hold that thought, Les.
Okay,
hold it right there.
You got it. Right. You got it.
You are listening to The Outer Realm with Michelle DeRoche and myself, Amelia Pisano. Tonight's amazing guest is the great, the awesome, the incredible, I can't find enough adjectives, Les Velez is on our show tonight. We are streaming live from the gorgeous city of New Orleans on 105.3 FM radio, streaming live right now on United, what are we on? UFO Paranormal Radio Network, International. There's so many of them. UFO Gods and Extraterrestrials, all over Facebook, all of our groups, on our group page. We're everywhere. We are here courtesy of the amazing people at Folgers Coffee from day one, and we hope forever and ever. We love you, Folgers. Pour yourself a cup while you're listening to us. They are the best. Thank you for your support. Also, our intro and outro, courtesy of the amazing Justin Snicker, Dr. Snick, the sonic surgeon. You can find his music on Amazon and Bandcamp, and you can find him on Facebook and Instagram. We're done.
Take a breath now.
Hey, by the way, I like Folgers coffee. I drink
Yay!
it every day.
That's
Every
it, right?
day.
Right? I'm
Every
drinking
day.
tea because I've been.
Our guests all cups.
I just don't have a mug.
Yeah,
I know.
I've been drinking tea because I've been sick for a few days, but it's usually coffee that's here with us at night. But
that was true.
Yeah, they're
We
a great,
have
they're a great company.
Like, where's our cups?
So
Yes,
you guys are in New Orleans?
We stream
Nope,
live
we're-
out of New Orleans. Yes.
Yeah, but we're in
United
Canada.
Public
You can't
Radio
see my
Network.
flag.
Yes. Yes. So
Super.
yeah,
Gorgeous city. I
it's-
can't
Oh,
wait
yeah.
to go there.
That's one on my bucket list. I haven't been there yet.
Me too.
have
Maybe
to
we'll
hook you
all
up
meet
with
there and
Joe.
we'll look for UFOs with Joe.
You should. He has a lot of experiences, and he served on the Nimitz.
Oh, did he?
Oh,
He
yes.
can tell you a story.
And he can tell you a story or two
I bet.
about UFOs. Yeah.
He has his
So
own group too.
I think he's under a gag order for one of them, but you might be able to get him to tell you if you're nice.
He released one on our show. He released one.
I'll tell you a cute little story. I was written up in the MUFON journal a couple of years ago, and one of the questions in the journal was, who would you like to meet in MUFON that you haven't met yet? And I said, I'd like to meet Dan Aykroyd.
Ah, yes.
And because he's a member. And so it was probably, 3 or 4 months after that article was written. And I got a call from the international director of MUFON asking me if it would be okay to give Dan Aykroyd my contact information.
So
I hear he's incredible. He's like approachable, kind, and yeah.
So anyway, I was kind of blown away by that, and then a month went by, another month went by, and I was in a greenhouse one day messing around with some plants, and not marijuana, but
we won't tell.
Okay. And I get a call, and it's Dan Aykroyd.
Wow. What was that like?
It was incredible. I mean, I found out that he had an experience. His mother has had an experience.
Mm-hmm.
His father wrote a book about ghosts and mediums, which Ghostbusters was based on.
That's right. That's right.
So, and then he sent me the book, his father's book, and so we've been, every once in a while now, I just sent him the copy of the book that I just wrote, and I'm going to be sending him the results of the therapist survey.
Nice.
And so it's interesting because he's really into all of this. I mean, totally into it.
He has his show, isn't he? Hotel Paranormal?
He narrates that, but no, he had his own show, I think, at one point about this too.
Yeah, he's supposedly working on another show. So he said that he says if that ever comes to fruition, that he'd like to have me be part of it in some way, shape, or form.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah,
I would imagine you're well thought out after, because you're so informed. You have so much experience. You share so much, and you're so kind, and it's easy to talk to you. Which I find it difficult sometimes. I'm very intimidated by a lot of the experts who come on with UFOs because I don't know very much, and I have this big fear. But with you, it seems to be very easy, and I just want to thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome, and thank you.
Oh, thank you.
And she also has a big fear of just ETs.
I'm afraid of them because and I've said this over and over. I think it's enough that I speak to dead people and try to explain that to others. And I wouldn't be surprised if some of my gifts have strengthened over the years because of ET. But I have this fear because of what Hollywood's created. And I think a lot of people have that fear. I'm very into the pulp culture, and my daughter worked entertainment for a long time, so I'm right into that. And like I said, after watching The Fourth Kind, I kind of cannot watch anything else. And I was going to ask you, do you find in your the people who have been abducted, the abductees, do you find that not just gifts, that a lot of them that are abducted maybe are highly empathic?
Oh, yeah, the psychic abilities come about. Yes, empathic. Yeah, we have one of the gentlemen in our group is highly empathic. So much so that he has a hard time dating.
Oh.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's
I-
tough because you're
yeah.
picking up on everything.
Oh,
That's hard.
yeah,
Yeah,
and so it's a blessing in one respect, but a curse in another
Mm.
it is.
respect. So yeah, healing abilities, psychic abilities, telepathic ability, you name it. It's incredible what occurs, and I've often wondered too that. Gary Nolan again and
Mm.
Kit Green have talked about these people that have psychic abilities in their caudate putamen area of the brain, that there's a lot more connections. And are those connections a inherited generation to generation, which seems to be the case? But was that caused by alien intervention way back when, eons ago?
Mm-hmm.
Or is this a natural ability that is awakened in people once they have, it's the old chicken and the egg thing, once they've
So,
had an experience?
do you think they're
Uh,
trying to awaken people? Oh.
yeah, so that
Mm.
have that already going for them.
Mm.
They're kind of called it antenna people because they can communicate, transmit and receive messages.
Mm.
And one of the things that was brought out in the UAP report that the government put out in June
Mm.
was the fact that, well, it's not us. We don't think it's the Russians or the Chinese,
Yeah.
and we don't have evidence that it's aliens, but they don't have evidence that it's not aliens.
Right. They're very
Okay.
careful how that was worded.
Right.
Yes.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's just incredible. And I
Mm.
think that one of the things I'm also ran into Nick Pope. He was
Oh, he's a sweetie.
at
Love
the
him.
Yeah.
symposium, and he was talking about, well, I hope that it's actually the Russians or the Chinese because at least we can pick up the phone and talk to them. And I said, well, hell, Nick, you're missing a point here. The abductees are already communicating telepathically with them. They don't
I
need a
think
So,
phone.
that's
mm.
a good point. I think people keep forgetting that, that they are
Yeah.
communicating with them. Do you think that by chance they may have engineered, like the whole remote viewing
When you
phenomenon,
say,
like, when it started, okay, when it started years and years ago with Project Blue Book and everything, and the remote viewers were a big part of the government, and now a lot of people
Still
in
are.
this field are, but now a lot of people in this field are natural remote viewers. Do you think that comes from ET more than from us?
well, technical remote viewing, I mean, can be learned.
That's right.
Yes,
And a matter
yes,
of
but
fact,
that whole
I've,
creation of
yeah,
teaching it.
I've done it myself
Mm.
actually.
Mhm.
Um, and as far as you know, I would rather call it psychic abilities rather than remote viewing,
Mm.
because there are people that can see in the past, certainly in certainly the present, and in the future.
Mhm.
And so there's no time, constraint
Mm.
with their capabilities, their abilities. So yeah, I think you got to be careful when, well, not careful, but I mean, it's just a matter of terminology, whether
Mhm.
you call it remote viewing
Yeah.
or psychic ability.
I know, that's
Mm.
what I mean, like, everybody's
Yeah.
calling themselves a remote viewer now, and hi, Sherry. I agree that
Sure.
gifted individuals are targeted.
Do
Yeah.
you think it's like, again, like you say, like putting the horse before the cart, egg for the hen? It's like going full circle. Do you think that, people are gifted because of ET, or do you think that ET are
Yeah.
just simply attracted to gifted people?
Yeah. And I've that's one of the things I talk about in the book as well. Is it's the chicken and the egg type of a thing.
Right.
Is it caused by? And I don't have a definitive answer for that.
Well, of course.
If I did, my book would be a lot thicker. But I think that there was manipulation, and I think it was Gary Nolan as well that put a graph up. And the graph showed that, the universe is 13 billion years old, okay? And that our planet is only 4 billion years old. And that our genes mutate every 600,000 years, or our DNA mutates every 600,000 years. And based on those factors, there's no way that if you go back to early man, could possibly be as advanced as we are now without some type of manipulation.
Right.
Because then the planet would be a lot older. It's not 4, but it'd be 9 billion years old to get to where we are. So
we had a little help, basically.
Yeah, probably.
Right. So yeah, I tend to agree with you. I tend to agree with you on
Un poquito.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly.
I am with you on that one. I think, Les, for sure. So where do you see yourself? Like, what's next for you? With all of this, with your organization and writing and research?
Well, one of the things that we're trying to do, and as a matter of fact, I have a meeting on Saturday with the board, is that we're trying to get the word out to more people, and doing show like yours. And thank you, ladies, for
Oh my
having me
gosh.
on the show tonight.
It's our honor and privilege. Thank you.
And because I think there's a lot more people that are having issues and looking for help, but don't know where to turn. And so we're trying to do more marketing, so to speak, in those terms, different places. And we do have a Facebook group and page, and of course our website, opusnetwork.org. And we're doing interviews. I'm doing interviews with people. I've had Linda Moulton Howe on my show.
Very nice.
And you can see all those interviews on our website. They're there for free. And we have Linda Moulton Howe as one of our advisory board members. We have
very nice.
Yeah, I love her.
Yvonne Smith is another advisory board. Melinda Leslie and Terry Lovelace is also on our.
Wow, very nice. Yes.
Wow.
And he's actually a very good friend. He's just down the road from me here in Texas.
That's awesome. I'm pretty sure we've had Terry on.
So I think that's probably the gist of what we want to try to do here in the future is to get the word out more. We'll probably do more advertising in various magazines like Nexus. We're going to be doing an ad in there. It's basically, talking about ourselves a little bit and telling people what we do, and to be able to contact us for any type of assistance. And we're going to have a monthly Zoom meeting for our members in the support group. And I've done them not on a monthly basis, but now we have a person that's going to take that over and start doing that as well. So we're just here to help. We're trying to help.
Right. Well, I think it's great that you offer, a safe place for people to come and talk about it, because I think that's half the battle. People don't necessarily know where to turn. They're not sure, A, if something's happened, B, who's going to believe them, and
Exactly.
C, how do you find out for sure? How will you ever know?
Yeah, that's
those are the three big ones,
Yeah, Absolutely. Absolutely. And what I've found to be the biggest help is people understanding they're not alone, that there are other people having these types of experiences,
Mm-hmm.
so they can talk about their experiences and ask questions.
Mm-hmm.
And the interesting thing too is that when we first got rolling back in the early 90s, we're not just an organization that's looking at the abduction phenomena. We're,
Mm-hmm.
we're, we're looking at all aspects of the paranormal. But
Right.
as it turns out, for whatever reason, most of the people that come to us are basically experiencers, and we
Right.
occasionally get someone that's has poltergeist activity, and we have
Mm-hmm.
various people like Lloyd Auerbach that is involved with that area
Mm-hmm.
to work with people,
Mm-hmm.
as well as Kundalini Awakening. We have the Kundalini Awakening network that we work with, and various other types of things in the paranormal that we can point people in the right direction if they're looking for help.
Right. They really do go hand in hand, don't they? I
Uh,
find in my
mhm.
years of research, I can't tell you how many times I've gone into, speak with a family who figure they're having one type of activity. And when you really start delving, they're having extraterrestrial activity, or extraterrestrials have been found and seen on site. They've had experiences. They see them in the house.
Yeah.
So I think eventually, a lot of people in that field come over
Yeah,
to
that
your
was the thing
field.
that we found, in this study that we did with the therapists, is that the number four thing was poltergeist, ghost activity,
Mm.
that people were talking about, not just
Mm-hmm.
grays or orbs or interdimensionals. It was
Full
poltergeist.
on. Yeah,
Yeah.
sleep paralysis, things like that,
Hmm.
which can fall under a few different categories as
Yeah.
well. And sometimes it'll wrap it all up into one big package. It's pretty much the same thing. Yeah, I do. I think it's fascinating, and I wish you all the very best on this. Happy to have you on again, or people from your
Sure.
organization who may also have books they want to promote while being able to promote Opus as well.
Okay, great. I
You know,
appreciate that very
yeah,
much.
open door policy, Les.
All right. Excellent, excellent. I really appreciate it, ladies, and I appreciate the work that you're doing
Oh, thank you.
to
Thank
to
you.
put the word out in these various areas that
Thank you.
you guys talk about. So,
Yeah.
the outer realm is definitely important, and I think that people listening to your programs uh, get to understand that there's more to life than getting up in the morning, having breakfast, going to work, coming home, having dinner, watch some TV, go to bed. The next day, same routine,
It
over and
is
over and
true.
over.
Hence why, I think that's why the name was chosen. It is
Mhm.
something that's out of the norm, that is out there. We have millions of people who listen in every week, and we bring in people at the top of their fields who know what they're talking about, and we want that to be, we want our listeners, we want the word to get out and say, wow, I did not know that. We learn something new every
Yeah,
single time somebody comes on the show.
Absolutely.
Right. For us, it's also a learning experience.
and that's the way it should be. I think
Yes.
when I'm on various programs, I also learn things that are
It's,
quite interesting, and so
yeah.
that's certainly been the case tonight.
Thank
Oh,
you.
wow. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
It's such an honor.
It
Well,
was. It was great. And sorry about the little mishap in the beginning. We'll make it up too. Just bring it back on and just.
okay.
If you'll have us, if you'll have
Oh,
us.
oh,
So, yeah.
absolutely. Sure. It's been fun. It's been fun too.
Oh,
Thank
thank
you.
you. Thank you. We like it to be laid back. So, just have to make sure
No,
you get a
you
cup of
you
food
made
at
me
that
feel
time.
very comfortable.
Thank
Thank
Oh,
you.
you.
that's how I feel about you. Oh my gosh.
Okay, what's your number?
Yeah. Well, Les, we'll send you a message after the show.
I'm just a few miles away from you.
Just a few.
We're just a few miles away, but Michelle and I live close together, so we can both meet you.
There we go. 2 for 1.
All right.
Oh, that's great, Les. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have yourself a fantastic week.
Have a good night.
Oh, you too.
We look forward to the next time.
You'll have a wonderful rest of the evening.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now. Well, everyone, we have come to another awesome end of a great segment, as always. And we'd like to thank everybody in chat, and we would like to thank our guest, Les Velez, who is just awesome, and Folgers Coffee for sponsoring the show. Thank you, as always, again. And thank you to Dr. Snick, aka Justin Snicker, for our intro and outro. Please remember to head on over to our group pages, Outer Realm, of course, on Facebook. If you're going to YouTube, please, UFO Paranormal, International Public Radio, UFO Gods and Extraterrestrials, subscribe. If you want to contact us, please, the only place I can personally respond, and I know we're both really swamped, is the Outer Realm contact@gmail.com. The Outer Realm contact@gmail.com. This way it's all in one place, and it just makes my life so much easier. So next week, we're going to be having friends returning to the show. Wednesday, we welcome back our friend Nathaniel Gillis, who we all know and love. And this time it's going to be a little bit out of the norm for Nathaniel. He's going to be discussing extraterrestrials and how they can infiltrate your life, the signs, what you can do about it, if you can do anything about it. Thursday night, we welcome back our dear friends, Kat Thagard and Utu Witch Doctor. And they're going to be talking about weird stuff and folklore and cryptids in the Niagara Falls area. So that's totally going to be a lot of fun. Do not forget, this coming Saturday, the very first segment of 2022 on the Gray Zone Uncensored, with Joe Montaldo and myself, providing he's still standing at that point. So 5 to 7 p.m. Central, 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be a really amazing segment. I can't tell you what it's going to be. It's always something that we post literally the day of. So please make a point of tuning in. And until then, everybody behave, and we shall see you next week. Thank you. Good night.
You have been listening to The Outer Realm with Michelle DeRoche and Amelia Pisano, airing live every Wednesday and Thursday evening, 9 to 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 to 10 p.m. Central, on the United Public Radio Network, 105.3 FM in New Orleans.